Welcome to day 196 of TFIF 365. And this is going to be a bit of a ramble because I'm trying to put some things, so I need to externally process. So this is what you get. So initially, I thought that the theme of the day would be let's normalize ending relationships with anyone that no longer aligns with who we are today. And I realize that's such a loaded statement. The reason I kind of got there is because I've realized because I've changed my life, I've had to end some relationships with some folks who in the moment it was painful. In the moment it was, I grieved. And yet hindsight, I wouldn't change a thing. Hindsight, I'm no longer angry. I'm no longer sad. I totally wish them well. Our lives, our paths just no longer converged, right? It's like we were definitely need to be on different paths, but we couldn't let go of each other. And we found ourselves in situations that made letting go the only viable option if we were going to be sane and healthy, period. And that includes personal relationships, professional relationships, that includes family and friends. And but I want to go a little deeper than that because that's just the tip of the iceberg. Because one of the reasons things are so letting go or walking away from relationships um, of any kind that no longer serve us is so difficult because of how we've been indoctrinated in systems, institutions, and policies designed to privilege the few at the expense of the many. One of the things I'm really, really taking in and digesting about living supremacy-free, coercion-free, discrimination-free, and exploitation-free as much as possible. Trust me, I'm not a master at this, and there is never a destination for this. It's an ongoing journey. Every day, I want to be better at holding myself accountable, be better at putting space between my triggers and my response, be better at understanding my own motivations and my own incentives in situations so that when when I am in relationship with individuals, with people, I know myself as well as I can in that moment. And I'm able to evaluate as objectively as possible, because you can never be, because you're in relationship, so there's a lot of subjectivity, but the more objective I can be, and it's the same way when I talk about when I help my clients build policies, procedures, and processes, and I help them shift from the jobs that they created for themselves to businesses. It's understanding that you're developing these process or procedures and policies because for those predictable things so that you have the bandwidth for those unpredictable things. So that's the same thing is I'm doing this work so that I understand myself as objectively as possible. So when I am encounter those subjective parts of my personality or the subjective encounters I have with others, because I've spent so much time with the objective part, I now have the bandwidth to now dive into the subjective parts without getting those confused. And so when I step away from a relationship, I really want to get to a place where I don't feel abandoned, when I don't have to, it doesn't have to be out of anger, it doesn't have to be after a fight, but it could be two people who've decided to renegotiate their relationship. And that renegotiation means I wish you well, goodbye, right? To me, that's just, I wish you well, goodbye. Or goodbye, I wish you well. Goodbye, I wish you well. No, I wish you well, goodbye. And it's so funny because I'm saying this because words matter. How they come in sequence matters. And so to somebody who heard what I just said, wish you well, goodbye, or goodbye, wish you well, they don't see a difference. but because I know myself and I've done that work, there is a definite difference between where you place those words. And so I just really, everybody, yeah, we're meant to grow. We're meant to change. We're meant to develop. That's the whole human development part, right? That's where, we grow, we do better. Every generation should be more advanced socially. Oh my God, socially than previously. And it's not happening because we don't allow ourselves to evolve out of relationship with others unless there's a contentious undergirding undertone, which then leads us to be angry and hurt and all these other things. And I just want to normalize, you know what, boo? This has been great. I wish you well, but I must say goodbye. Not even but. I wish you well, period. It's time for me to say goodbye. And so, yeah, I just really would like us to do that, because if we could do that, that would shatter, that would upend so many of the systems, institutions, and policies designed to privilege the few at the expense of the many. Because so many of the doctrine that we have around relationships and what that means has been, what am I trying to say? Has been dictated to us in order to protect those people and sustain and keep us sustained, keep us in relationship with them when we would have walked away years ago, when we never would have, and that's family and friends and coworkers or whatever. Those who benefit unfairly from those unearned privileges, and you can see it in history. Look at why women were property. There were societies where women were at the top of the hierarchy. If we want to talk about hierarchical, whatever the word is, I can't say it right now, living. And I'm not taking that out because that's just me, right? I'm not editing those things because I want to be as honest and transparent as possible. But there were societies, and there's still remote societies where women rule. And it's not patriarchal. It's not, and even in those matriarchal societies, it's about the collaborative, it's about the community. And so a lot of what we are experiencing and the shame and the guilt we feel in desiring to leave a situation, a relationship of any kind, are rooted in maintaining the comfort of those very individuals that we no longer need to be attached to. Now, that's the extreme. But what happened with that is, because we are not, quote unquote, allowed to walk away from relationships unless we're being abused, not just because we just don't have anything in common anymore. We don't have a language, we don't have a practice, we don't have a practice rooted in community that says, this was great. I love you for what you brought into my life. I wish you well. Goodbye. So until tomorrow, peace.